Angela Merkel made history by becoming the Chancellor of Germany for the fourth term running. But her victory is being described as a nightmare win because of the way the coalition turned after the elections. She is going to have to bring in a coalition for which talks can run for weeks, if not months, because her margins, the ruling coalition's margins, have come down. That's because of the rise of the hard right AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, which translates to Alternative for Germany, which came on an anti-Islam, anti-refugee plank. Reza, what do you make of this election?
Definitely a win for Merkel, but as you said, things are not going to be easy. She is a diminished leader. She may be having another term. She may have confounded her critics in Germany and outside, but she isn't as strong as she was in her earlier tenures. Putting together a coalition obviously is going to be something that's going to be difficult for her. Her Christian Democrats have done fairly okay, but one of their key partners, the Socialist Party, now Social Democrats, they're saying that they would prefer to sit in the opposition. So she's going to have to look for new coalition partners and at the same time keep the AfD at bay.
But what explains the rise of AfD? Do you think that over the years, given the fact that Merkel had allowed nearly 1 million refugees, mainly from Syria and African regions, fleeing conflicts, has actually led to an anti-immigrant sentiment in Germany? Germany is not a stranger to anti-immigrant sentiment. So do you think that this is going to be the main politics that will define Germany in the future?
There are a lot of people in Germany who are concerned about the rise of the right wing. Let's not forget that this is the first time since the Nazis that somebody from the right is going to be in parliament. The AfD is a party. In 2013 it had no representation at all in parliament. Today it is the third largest force. So clearly people are going to be worried about this. But there are also some other interesting key indicators if you look at. The AfD won a lot of votes in what was previously East Germany, the poorer parts of Germany, the parts which was ruled by the communists for a long time. Now these are places which are obviously not as democratic as the rest of Germany. These are societies that are still opening up. So clearly it tapped into a lot of frustration, a lot of anger at the lack of development in these areas. The places where there is more fertile ground to use its anti-immigrant, anti-Islam plank. So clearly this is something that Merkel will have to deal with in her next term.
In India we have this term called coalition dharma. Merkel is going to be forced to have a coalition with what is being called a Jamaica Alliance, named after the colors of the parties involved. The Greens are one of them, and you have a business-friendly party called the FDP, and then there is the Die Linke party. Die Linke is a far left party. These parties have different agendas. So she is eventually going to have to do something about her immigration policy in particular.
Not just immigration, there are other factors at play. Now, if you look at it at a very basic level, there is a lot that brings the Christian Democrats, the Free Democrats, and the Greens together. They are both more central, more centrist. They're more liberal. But at the same time, the Greens and the Free Democrats, they depend on the same vote bank. So that itself is going to create strains. Also, the Free Democrats are not very keen on, the common European zone. They're not very keen on greater integration. They're not keen on the euro becoming stronger. So these are worries that she will have to tackle at the same time. And, putting together a coalition this time for Merkel will not be as easy as forging a coalition between the Christian Democrats and the Social Democrats.
Do you think that it is too early to say that eventually we will see more of the right-wing parties akin to Nazis coming back and dominating the parliament, the Bundestag of Germany?
Clearly, there has been an upswing in the fortunes of the right, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that the right is going to become a dominant force. I think people in Germany especially have very strong memories of what happened under Hitler. It's been ingrained into them over decades. They know that that isn't the right way to go. And I am a bit of an optimist. I think a majority of the people are going to remember that, and I don't think they are going to allow the rightist forces to become a key player. But at the same time, there are conditions in many countries in Europe which favor the growth of the right. There are a lot of people who feel they have been left out by the whole integration of Europe process. There are a lot of people who feel the refugees are coming in and taking away jobs or taking away funds that should rightfully be theirs. So clearly, it's going to have to be some kind of a balancing act. She will have to, address the fears of these people who may vote for the rightist forces, and also make sure that, the rightist forces don't get any more space within the Bundestag.
What happened with Hitler is what is usually considered as a national shame for Germany. It is a past that Germans would like to erase. But then the question is whether that past that had haunted Germany for many decades is going to come back in some form or the other. It will have huge implications if the right-wing, populist, far-right groups like AfD and even more hard-right groups take a stab at power. It will have huge consequences for the European Union project as well as for the politics of European Union. Thanks for watching.